Last episode, I asked you to write down what you were actually working for. Did you do it? If you did, good. We're going to use it today. But if you didn't, that's actually what this episode is going to be for. Because most people don't write it down. Most people can't write it down. Not because they're lazy, but because they don't actually know. You see, they think they have goals, but what they actually have are wishes. And there's a difference, a big one, and it's costing you more than you think. A wish is something you want to happen. A goal is something you've decided to make happen. And it sounds simple, but it's actually not. Because wishes feel like goals. They live in the same neighborhood, they use the same language. I want to get out of debt. I want to lose weight. I want to move up at work. Those sound like goals, but they're not. They're wishes with a deadline problem, which is that there is no deadline, no plan, and no consequence if nothing happens. A goal has teeth, a wish has hope. Hope is not strategy. I'm going to tell you about the moment that I understood this. I was 13 years old, and my parents had just divorced. I was in a new country, new school, new system, new everything. And I did what a lot of people do when life gets hard. I ate. I sheltered myself in food. I didn't even realize what I was doing to myself at the time. It was just comfort. Until one afternoon, I'm sitting in the living room playing FIFA, and I looked over at the mirror sitting next to me, and I didn't recognize myself. The gut, the chin, the way I was sitting, I felt disgusted, genuinely disgusted. Not at my circumstances, at myself. Because even at 13, I understood something most adults won't admit. Those were the results of my own actions. Nobody did that to me. I did that to me. And right there, in that living room, controller in hand, I made a decision. Not a wish, a decision. I was going to lose weight. I didn't know how. I didn't have a trainer. I didn't have the internet the way you do now. My dad was working all the time. I had nobody to ask. So I used logic: eat less, drink more water, move more. That's it. That was the whole plan. So I started running a mile every day, then two, then four. I changed what I ate, and I was aggressive about it. And 1 year later, I had lost 100 pounds. And it wasn't because I had a perfect plan, it was because the decision I made was real. The decision had teeth, and there was no version of the future I was building where I stayed the same. That wasn't an option anymore. That mirror moment at 13 wasn't the last time I made a decision like that. It was just the first. At 23, I was working at a bus company. I'd graduated from college, taking more responsibility than anyone asked me to, worn five hats for one person's pay, and they tried to put me on night shift instead of promoting me. I quit that night. No backup plan, no other job lined up. Just a decision that I was done being undervalued. In that same year, I was 2 months into a management consulting job and about to get fired. My manager kept walking away from conversations where I needed help. And one day I stopped him, literally stopped him from leaving the room. I told him I actually needed him to hear me out, that I was willing to do whatever it took, but I needed help. I needed direction. And a year later, I won the Rising Star Award, the most prestigious recognition that company gave. Three moments, three decisions, and in every single one of them, the plan wasn't complete, the resources weren't all there, and the outcome wasn't guaranteed. But the decision was made fully, with no exit ramp. That's the difference between people who change their lives and people who spend their whole life meaning to. So let me ask you something directly. That thing you say you want, the promotion, the debt paid off, the body, the business, whatever it is, when did you actually decide to make it happen? Not when did you start wanting it, when did you decide? Because there's a version of you that's been wanting the same things for 2, 3, 5 years and nothing has moved. And the reason nothing has moved isn't because you don't work hard enough or you're not smart enough or because you don't have the right connections. It's because you never actually decided. You've been wishing loudly, maybe, consistently, maybe, but wishing. A decision looks different. A decision has a date, it has a first step, and it has a cost you're willing to pay. It has a version of failure you've already accepted because the alternative, staying the same, is no longer acceptable. That 13-year-old kid looking at himself in the mirror didn't have a plan. He had a line he had crossed in his own mind and a point of no return. Have you crossed that line yet on anything? Here's what separates a real goal from a wish: three simple things. First, it has to be specific enough to be wrong. I want to be healthier is a wish. I'm going to lose 20 pounds by September 1st is a goal. You can look at it in 6 months and know whether you did it or not. Vague goals are just wishes with ambition attached. Second, it has a first action that happens within the first 24 hours. Not next week, not when things settle down, today or tomorrow. And the first step doesn't have to be big, it has to be real. Because a decision that doesn't produce immediate action isn't a decision, it's a feeling. Third, you've identified what you're willing to give up for it. Every goal costs something: time, money, comfort, other priorities. And if you haven't named what you're trading, you haven't committed. You've just added something to the list. That's it. Specific, immediate first action, named cost. If your goal doesn't have all these three, it's still a wish. And if I'm being real with you, that's fine, as long as you're honest about it. In episode 1, I asked you to write down what you were actually working for. Now, I want you to go back to that piece of paper and look at what you wrote. Is it a goal or is it a wish? Run it through the three filters. Is it specific enough to be wrong? Does it have a first action you can take in the next 24 hours? And have you named what you're willing to give up for it? If yes to all three, you have a goal. If not, rewrite it until it is. Right now, before you open another app, watch another video, or go to sleep tonight. The 13-year-old version of me didn't wait for the right moment. He looked in the mirror, made a decision, and started running the next morning. I'll see you in episode 3.